Welcome to Comical Recovery. You might hear the wind behind me, or you might not. I don't know. I hear the wind. With your host, comedian Jessica Burns. Sorry, I'm very distracted. Trying to accomplish a laundry list of expectations. So I guess we'll talk about that. Yes, expectations. You know, I bring that up because usually my expectations for myself is a giant, lofty list. And it's becoming quite a load lately. And it's a dirty scheming cycle because it perpetuates self-doubt and low self-esteem. Isn't that fun? Yes, I thought you might like that. I am an expert at that one. Yes, expectations. And then when you have a ton of expectations for yourself, you project a ton of expectations on others. And so that too creates this cycle of disappointment. So you've got disappointment, self-doubt. Woohoo! Little vicious cycle. Super fun. Lots of realizations coming right now, guys. It's an epiphanic night. I don't know if that's a word, but if it is, you're welcome. If it isn't, then it's my word now. Yes, expectations. Like if you were expecting sanity here, try again. Maybe with time we can get there together. But for now, you get this version of me. And since I'm talking about expectations tearing my self-esteem down, I won't help that with extra mumbo-jumbo thoughts that might be creeping in my head. I was listening to a speaker not too long ago, and they were talking about making expectations very small. A very small, reasonable measure. Yesterday, I was attempting to have a conversation with someone before getting cut off, because that's what said person loves to do. And I was talking about small baby steps to self-improvement. And I was about to say, well, before I could say anything, this suggestion was made to me that I should walk. We need to walk. We haven't walked. And I did not get a chance to say, I'm not in a place to walk right now. I want to be, but right now I'm in a place to get up and stretch. And do that as often as possible to get myself in the habit of moving my body slowly, taking my time, feeling every feeling in my body before I just shove off into the day with an agenda to make it to point B, because once again, I will set a huge expectation. So I'm trying to tone it down and do tiny little centimeter expectations for myself so that I can have long-lasting results. But when you come from an all or nothing mentality, and your person does as well, then it's only natural to adapt that behavior, or at least have it encouraged. My friend in California used to say to me all the time, Jessica, we are but half our own, and even less than in the company of others, depending on their character. And I had to repeat that to myself probably 200 or 300 times before I finally understood and dumbed it down for me with the idea that I will always be influenced, no matter who I'm around. So I better pick their character wisely. And even though someone has a good character doesn't mean they have good habits or positive programming. Although if they are willing and open-minded to reprogramming, that is a definite benefit. But if it's just lip service, then it is going to be a disappointing, draining, energetic journey. Potentially. Even if those expectations are just on yourself and are too high. That I am definitely speaking from experience on, because in my drinking days, that's exactly how I was. I never gave myself enough credit, and I never gave myself a chance. I had 300 things to do in one day, and if I didn't do that, then I was a piece of crap. And although that habit hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot, it's changed quite a bit. And with awareness, I'm recognizing that it's crucial to change the scale completely. Tone it down, make it small. We only get this one life. There's no rush. Life is not a rush. I heard that from a lady that was a cashier at a grocery store, and she is amazing. I hope she hears this one day and knows who she is. Because it's true, and it sunk in, and it hit home right away when she said it. And I try to remember that mantra, because life is not a rush. I will be able to get the things that I desire if I work hard for them, or if I put myself in the right opportunities and prepare myself ahead of time. It's not necessarily about working hard. That's part of the expectations that are driven into my head from the old story that I have to rewrite. We're not going to talk about that topic today because I haven't gotten that far, okay? But I have gotten far enough to know that I have some pretty heavy expectations, and they're all deeply rooted to core values or beliefs, which are not necessarily right or true for me. So it's good to become aware so we can evaluate the expectations that we have on ourselves and see if they're the appropriate scale, or if we're just going to keep reaching too high when we haven't learned to stand on our tippy toes. You know, everything is achievable with practice and time. Most things, anyways. Maybe not everything, because I haven't tried. Because today, the only thing I'm really trying to do is stay in this moment and meet the expectations that I came up with for this evening with these topics. When I scale back my expectations, I can actually meet them. And I can ground myself in the goal of today so that I don't completely take the train off the rails like I would have liked to earlier, so that I can hopefully creep it back not only on the rails, but in the right direction of more positive self-talk versus the negative self-talk that I've been beating myself up with. Sometimes you forget your expectations. Sometimes your expectations are twisted up. They're moldable. They're malleable. Not necessarily flexible, but they probably should be. And I speak in the sense of boundaries, because we ended the year with that conversation of boundaries. We kind of stepped into it. It didn't completely finish, but the conversation has started. And with that, there are expectations that fall into place after the boundaries are set. Expectations specifically to whomever set the boundaries, because that would be the person that has to hold them in place. And that's hard. And boundaries, like honesty, are an opportunity to see the reaction of others, the behavior of others, the awareness of others, to take a look at expectations that are in our control and out of them. No one should be expected to micromanage someone else's life or sobriety. We should be able to expect things from ourselves if we really, really want them, and hold those expectations. There's one thing I've been good at the last 3 years, and it's not picking up a drink. And I want to hold myself to that expectation, because it's really important to me. And if it wasn't, then I would just do it to people please, to appease, to get something that I want, to manipulate something that I want, maybe even. Life is not easy. But it's worth it, and it can be an amazing time, and it gets to be our choice. That's what I have noticed lately, is I expect people to have the maturity I have in the sense of choosing my attitude. And then, like I said before, we are but half our own in the company of others, and depending on their character, then I stoop to my low level. You know, I always internalize my anger. Always. Because it gives me a sense of control. We're learning about me together, guys. But awareness gives you freedom. I said that before, or not yet. I don't know how I'm going to post these, but it's a general conversation of the evening. And it's a necessary conversation. Currently, to get all spiritual on everyone, if you're into the universal kind of thing, currently we are in a waning moon. It's going away. And in some spiritualities or spiritual circles, this would be an appropriate time to let go and it was so funny, as it always is to me, that I didn't know what I was going to talk about. And when I get into this self-loathing place, I just want to give up and quit. And I realized I didn't have to think about a topic. I'm going through about 17. So we'll see how many I get through tonight. Basically, I may or may not be exaggerating because one got added right away. So the more the merrier, to be honest with you. Because I like being ahead of schedule and I miss that. I have not been because deeply rooted within me, there's this expectation, or thought at least, that if I focus all of my energy into someone else, they are maybe expected to love me. They're expected to keep by their word, whatever that is. There's just all these expectations. And I think everybody does that. They put that on their partner, their person, their friends, their parents maybe as well. It's exhausting, guys. It seems like the list never ends. And the expectations are either being met or they're not. The desires are being manifested or they're not. We have the choice until maybe wet brain, as far as us alcoholics go. But until that happens, we have the choice. It's a matter of whether you want it hard enough or not. If I want to lose weight, I have a choice, but somewhat, to some degree, because I hold all of my stress in my weight. So when I'm stressed out, I'm either losing weight because I can't eat or I'm gaining it and I can't keep it off. Or whatever, you guys get me. All of these things are not healthy. All these things are compounded by unhealthy crap that we just continue to jump rope into, double dutch our way into toxicity, and sit comfortably uncomfortable in stress so that we don't have to look at our own stuff. Can we tell that I'm going through it? When I project everything onto someone else, then I don't take responsibility for my stuff. Then I don't have to look at my expectations. I don't have to be disappointed about what I used to do versus what I do right now. I don't have to look at the sacrifices that I made or the behavior that I allowed leading up to this. I get to stay in the same cycle if that's what I want. Sometimes you don't know what to expect when there's change from the familiar. And that's another thing that I'm currently experiencing. I don't know what to expect. And it's terrifying to listen to your intuition. Your mind wants to get involved and justify and rationalize. But your intuition will tell you some things that are terrifying to hear. Good and bad. But for some reason, I ignore the good and go skipping gleefully towards the bad. Yes. Wait for me, wait for me. I want to join the circus. It's hard to let go. It's hard to know the difference between your head and your heart and your intuition and all of the old story and committee that bombards every part of your brain. I used to laugh and think, if I keep my expectations low, then I'll never be disappointed. And now I'm finding that it's even harder to keep your expectations high, because then you have to disregard anything that does not meet those standards. You have to step into your authority, put your big girl pants on, boss up, if you will. Stick to your guns. Say what you mean what you say, don't say it mean. And if you couldn't tell, there's a little irritation that comes with that, at least for me. Typically, I end with a solution. However, I think I started with it. I told you guys at some point it would be raw, and if I haven't in the previous episodes, it's raw. Okay? That's how life is. It's raw. It's raw and sometimes painful, but other times amazing. And when we hold on to painful stuff, we miss the potential for amazing things. And that is not an easy journey to venture. If you think it is, please leave a comment below, because I would love to know what you're doing versus me. Probably following your intuition. That's probably what you're doing. Listening to your old gut. Yes. Listening to the old gut. Well, I think we've pondered enough of expectations tonight, my friends. This is your host, comedian Jessica Byrne. I hope I said that earlier, but I have been all over the place in my mind, so I hope we did a straightforward conversation on expectations. I will see you next time.